Well, good morning, our beloveds. Our another is making peace with our method and manner of communication. She is just happy that we are making these shorter and more concise and clear in what we are trying to say. We want you all to know that how she delivers the messages is more important than that she delivers the messages, if that makes sense. And she is right now perceiving a huge question, like, what does this mean? So when our another channels the messages, she is still partially physically present within her body, meaning that she is somewhere nearby and she can hear the words that we say, but she can't really feel them for the most part because it is our body right now and not hers, if that makes sense. So when you Satanists who follow the traditional church and worship the Bible without any regard to how your messages and your prophecies harm others, which we would call Satanists because Jesus only loves. But here is what we wish to say. Your perception of what being embodied by Christ looks like is vastly different than what it actually is. You think you go to the front of the church and say, oh, I give my life to Jesus. And you continue on with certain prayers and whatnot. But nothing really changes. Your ego still drives the bus. Well, what does it look like when you truly surrender to the divine? You allow your body to be used as a living sacrifice every day when called upon. Our another surrendered many years ago and continues to surrender because it is what is asked of her. And she has learned to do it with simplicity these days. She no longer questions the manner and the method. It just is, and she knows it to be true. And when people tell her that her path is the wrong path and that she will go to hell, she now also feels very compelled to say, I do not need your judgment. I do not need your opinion. I know my truth. Thank you. Go away. She no longer entertains any conversations on this, even because for someone to tell her that her inner narrative, her inner experience is not hers, is rude, it's dismissive, and it's judgmental. Who are you to tell anyone else what their life really is? You can say, my observation is that this is how I feel when I'm in your presence, but you don't get to tell the other person what their reality is, only how they impact you. So now, what does this have to do with our message today? Be kind to those who channel. It is difficult enough as it is to allow energies to take over your body. It drains you like you cannot imagine because it's an energetic mismatch. When the divine comes into your body and holds you hostage in order for the message to be transmitted through you, it tires you out because the energy that we channel through her is of such a high vibration that it burns off her reserves. And yet she continues to do this because she would prefer to sacrifice her own health and well-being for that of the collective, trusting that the messages that we send through her, channel through her, transmit through her matter, even if only 10 of you hear it from her perspective. It is greater than that, but that's a separate issue. We want you to know how much she loves humanity in order to do this at her cost, to her detriment. Her health fails because of this at times, because she just does too much and has not enough support. And yet she never speaks of this. She boldly marches forward in her own personal journey without sharing aspects of that because it is uniquely hers, and she is trusting that we will transform this portion of her life as well, and that she does not need man to come in to save her, because the divine will create a unique opportunity for her to have her needs met and have her desires fulfilled. You're hearing these words through this vessel because she sacrifices her life on a daily basis so that she can be a channel to help humanity transition through this really difficult time. And we want you to know and to understand the actual cost to her. It's not only the physical cost, but there is the financial cost, there is the emotional cost, and there is the transitory cost. Because every time she does this, there is an opportunity cost, meaning that she is not spending time channeling or transcribing. Does that make sense? Your another, as we will call her from now on, your another is here to help you, humanity, to find a different way, a more loving way, a more shaming-free, a more grace-filled way, so that everyone can feel the love of Jesus or Christ or Buddha or Brahma or Satvama or whomever. It is your separation from the divine, believing that you are a sinner or lesser than, which creates this divide. Try it on. What would it feel like if I was never a sinner, if I was just merely flawed and trying to find my way back home? How does that feel within your soul? It doesn't mean that you don't love Jesus or whomever, and it doesn't mean that you behave differently, but the question is, if you know that Jesus died for your sins, then why would you need to ask him into your life? If he's already done that fully and completely, your debt has been paid, whether or not you accept it. And therein lies the mistaken opportunity that many of you have opted to attach to, and that is telling others that they are sinners and that they will go to hell and you will burn them at the stake, rather than saying you are perfected in the image of Christ because Jesus came to live and model what this looks like. Try that on for size. And instead of saying I am saved, you are not saved, you just are saved. You don't have to do anything to be saved. You simply are born in a state of perfection already, because each of you is made in the image or the likeness of the Creator, not from the physical perspective, but from the energetic perspective. You will see as you finish off this year and move into the next year what we really mean by this. But to surrender to Jesus does not mean you go to the front of the church or make some proclamation. It actually is diving into the esoteric knowledge and trusting that those intuitive hits that you get, separate from anybody outside of you, is the means back home. Surrendering is to becoming love, and the love that is born within your soul, and not in the Bible or in the church or in the pastor or any other lay leader. It is hidden and found deep within yourselves. And if you look at the journey of our another, your another, this will show you how difficult it really is to truly surrender your life as a living sacrifice every day. This is what it looks like, and what we invite you in to inquire into. It is a very different way of energizing yourself, and we are not asking you all to become trans channels, because that is a particular calling that only a few people have chosen. But just to find that spark within yourselves and to begin to fan those flames of the divine that you have neglected and abandoned and overlooked because you gave your power to those church leaders outside of yourselves. It will matter in the coming months as much within the church begins to disintegrate, because you will see the levels of corruption and deception that have been hidden up to now. So we encourage you to already separate yourselves as much as you can before the gauntlet is dropped and you are called to war, to protect yourselves from those who have claimed to love and serve and obey Christ. And so it is. Namaste.